There is nothing inherently complicated. I want you to hear this. There's nothing inherently complicated in managing diabetes. What? Now you just spent the last day learning all about diabetes, and I'm here to say it's not complicated. Think about it. Eat right, exercise, test a lot, and take your meds. Does that sound complicated? It isn't complicated. And yet, we thinking people make it so, because there are a gazillion variables involved. Have you noticed that when you're in stress, your sugar is higher? Has any of you noticed that? Let's say you're one of the unfortunate ones who've lost your job, and now you got to figure out how am I going to pay for the house and keep the family and all of those wonderful things that we have, but you don't have the income anymore, and boy, does the stress happen, and along with it, the sugar. There's a reason for that. We were designed to either fight or flight, run. And in order to support that, when there's danger, what does the body do?
Adrenaline.
Adrenaline kicks in. What does adrenaline do? It makes the heart go faster, and it also says, we need energy. And so it takes, your liver stores, your liver's over here, your liver stores glucose for that rainy day when you may need it, and fight or flight when you have that stress. In fact, it calls on the liver to dump a bunch of sugar into your system. Now, what does that do for we diabetics? It's not a good thing, because most of the time we're not going to fight or run. Most of the time we're dealing with things that are going on in our head. Right? It's not what happens to us that's as important as what we do about it. And what we do about it is a result of our attitude. How many of you hate your diabetes? A good number of you, I'd say about half of you, hate your diabetes. How many of you know, those of you that said you hate it, that in all likelihood it's going to be with you for the rest of your life? So here's the interesting part. How can you have a relationship with something that you hate? Think about it. Think about the people that you don't particularly like. Do you have a relationship? No. And so my suggestion, hard as it may be, is build a relationship with your diabetes. Hate won't help. Now, I'm not suggesting you suddenly love it, but appreciate the relationship that you have with your body. We are forced, as people with diabetes, to take care of ourselves. And I have told hundreds of people over the years, I probably would be dead if I didn't have diabetes. And that may surprise you. I was born with an on-off switch and nothing in between. And so if I do something, I do it flat out. And for example, I love chocolate layer cake. Have a cake, it's no problem, right? And because the on switch is on and there it goes, it's gone. And so one of my learning, my growing edge as I call it, is learning how to be moderate, how to moderate my own behavior. How am I doing? Well, on some levels, really well. I've kept my weight off. I weigh right around 180 now, and so I've kept like 50 plus pounds off for over 30 years. And that's a good thing, because there's less of me to deal with in terms of the internal functioning of my body, insulin and so forth. Orals lasted 15 years for me, and I've been on the pump, well, 10 years on the pump, but I was on injections. I was doing 6 to 8 injections a day because my endocrinologist told me to think like a pancreas. You know, my pancreas is still with me. I haven't had it removed. It's not working too well. And so my brain and the pump does 100% of my insulin delivery, and the combination of my thinking, calculating with a piece of software in here that helps me do that is how I figure out how much insulin to give myself.